What is this? Windows 11 disaster Microsoft didn't see coming. My Windows 11 update actually broke my audio on stream for the longest time. I had to try and do a workaround on it because it never got fixed. And then I think it eventually got fixed after like 3 months.
There's a reason people get nostalgic for Windows XP.
Oh my god.
Simple.
Oh my god. My mom did pick the blue freaking butterfly every time.
It was clean. It got the job done.
Dude, there's something so nostalgic about like this fucking shit, man.
In other words, it was everything that Windows 11 isn't. With its data harvesting, its inbuilt advertisements, and its bloatware, people are just getting sick of Windows 11 and Microsoft as well, as we lost the functionality and the clean UI, and in exchange—
Oh my god, this picture is legendary. It made me so I actually thought this was fake, and then I found out it was a real picture that someone took. Apparently this rolling hill right here, it's ugly as fuck now. Yeah, it's ugly. Yeah.
Exchange, we got useless news and weather tabs along with mandatory AI.
Ew!
Unfortunately, the problems with Windows 11 are just the tip of the iceberg. Microsoft as a whole doesn't care about their customers anymore. And this decay isn't because they dropped the ball, it's all part of their plan, a process that's been happening for years. In fact, nearly
enshittification, bro. I hate it. Chat, we gotta look at the Windows XP wallpapers, bro. I gotta find out what my chat picked. I personally really loved this one, and yeah, this one was good too. This one sometimes. This one's the best. I love this one. This one my favorite. This one's a classic. Nothing wrong with that. This one's cool, but you have to be in the mood for it. And then this one only you only use this one in fall, like when it's autumn time. Oh my god, this one's great. This is my favorite. There's the Azul. Yeah, and these are actual pictures. They're not AI generated. They're not photoshopped. Like maybe a little bit, like, you know, color tweaking, but they're like actual places that exist. Bliss is the best one. That's the GOAT. Like, you cannot tell me this is not the GOAT. Like, oh my lord. Amazing. Love that. The best.
Every corporation under the sun has been in on the game, and you have probably noticed the effects of this yourself. Maybe it's the clothes you wear feeling slightly cheaper, or the furniture you use barely lasting a year before it breaks. Even the food we eat has gotten smaller and more expensive. Uncovering the story of how it happened to Windows and Microsoft will tell us how this happened to everything else as well, and it might even tell us if it's ever going to stop. I mean, how much worse can things really get? Now, Microsoft has always dealt with monopolies as how they got so massive in the first place. Through a mixture of hard work and luck and smarts, Bill Gates turned one business
selling it to a bunch of business conglomerates that are gonna run it into the ground after he dies. I mean, they're already running it into the ground anyway with his approval, but I think at the end of the day, we're not really going to find an alternative, because having an operating system on your computer that you're just used to and finding a new alternative is going to be so egregious and difficult to deal with for the average consumer that I don't think we're ever going to, like, we're not ever going to like, get away from Microsoft. I don't think so. Linux enters the chat. Yeah, try and explain how to use Linux to your grandma. Yeah, my case in point.
Contract
Hopefully
into an entire industry.
Yeah, I think
when
so.
IBM were designing what would become the first big home computer in 1980, they approached Bill Gates.
I have it. It's super easy. Okay, yeah, sure. I'm not gonna fucking get one guide and have someone tell me that it's super easy and it's super compatible. Every single program is gonna be super easy for me to like work with. I've already looked at using Linux to do VTube Studio. It is not easy. It is not. Grandmas can't even pick the right HDMI cable. Yeah, and you want them to learn Linux? Okay, yeah, sure.
And its small company Microsoft
Super
to create
easy,
the operating
guys.
system. IBM thought it was just a bit of software, and that they would own it once they had bought the rights. But sneaky Bill Gates made sure that wasn't what happened. A small clause in the contract let them sell their OS to other companies as well. So when IBM's computers took off, everyone wanted to create a competitive product.
And now look at IBM now. Are they even a thing anymore? They probably died really early on. Probably acquired. Does IBM still exist? Yes, IBM still exists as a major active player in the technology known as Big Blue. Oh, it is still a thing. I thought they would have been acquired by now by someone. Why are any of us still here? IBM is indeed dead.
So they all turned to Microsoft as well, meaning that pretty much overnight, Microsoft and their software had become the norm. It was what people expected to get. Through a mixture of legally grey business deals and threats, Bill Gates made sure it stayed that way. He got an iron grip over the manufacturers, only letting them use his software if they signed exclusive contracts and shut out his competitors. Then once he had a monopoly over operating systems, he used it to sell their other software. Internet Explorer became so popular despite its clear problems because it came pre-installed on people's computers. The same thing—
That's another thing. You buy out the market and make cheap computers and have the, you know, teach a generation how to use it, and then they'll never stop using it. What's this? More recent builds of Linux are much more user-friendly. Grandma will die before long. The next generation are beginning to move away from Windows. Okay. Yeah. Oh, for sure. No, you're totally right. Let me put this up for 1 second. Can I just show you something? Yeah, they're definitely moving away. Yeah, definitely, for sure, 100%. Yep. It's definitely gonna happen, for sure. The year of the Linux isn't gonna be, it's gonna be in 2065 or something, yeah. That is old chart. Okay, it moved from fucking what? You're... Alana, Linux has grown to 2.5% from 1% since 2018. Okay, you're right, sweetie, you're right. Yes, Linux is going to take over for sure. I'm not saying that it's not going to happen. I just think that it's going to be really fucking hard because how fucking everybody uses Windows for everything. Even the government uses Windows.
Worked with Microsoft Office and all their other software. It all made Microsoft so rich that they could buy out the competition and become a massive conglomerate. By the time the 2000s rolled around and Bill Gates finally stepped down, they were absolutely massive. But where could they take it next? Well, Steve Ballmer, the heir to the Microsoft throne, tried to shift the company's focus to hardware. Microsoft tried making their own PCs and mobile phones.
Absolute fucking disaster. My mom got a, I forget what it's called, like an iPad, but it's a Windows iPad, like a tablet. She used that for like 2 days because her work gave it to her to like lease and like do stuff on, and she fucking hated it. Yeah, like, even my mom was like, I hate this thing. I fucking hate this. Like, this is stupid. I just want to use a Windows computer, if anything.
Expanding into the hardware market, but they never really got a proper foothold.
No.
It was a mixture of crushing failures and severely limited successes. The company was stagnant and they couldn't use the same tricks they had before to get control over the market. The industry wasn't new enough. So Microsoft gave Ballmer a lot of time and a lot of room to work, but it just never turned around, and for nearly 15 years, Microsoft was simply dead in the water. They never lost their Windows monopoly, of course, but
I think Windows 8 was the worst one they ever released, because that's when the tablets got pushed. Yeah, the Windows 8 with the tablets was absolutely disgusting. I remember the day I downloaded it on my family's computer. Oh my god. It was just like the most horrendous like change ever, and everyone hated it. Everyone hated it.
Never really gained anything else either. So when he eventually stepped down in 2014, the share prices actually went up by 10% because of his ownership.
Vista was the worst. My parents didn't even use Vista. They just stuck with XP. Even though it was outdated, like they just skipped an OS basically. Yeah.
stock, retiring made Steve nearly $1 billion overnight. One of the only parts of the company that was actually performing well in the early 2010s was their cloud computing services. The division had been growing quickly under the relatively new management of Microsoft veteran Nadella, where revenue increased by $4 billion in literally just under 3 years.
That's disgusting.
Not many were surprised when he was named CEO in 2014, but they were surprised by what he did next, as he had a vision for Microsoft and its future. Instead of focusing on Windows or their other consumer-facing products, he was going to focus Microsoft on 3 new areas of the tech world. These were his old department of cloud computing along with virtual reality and artificial intelligence.
Well, they want to make the most money and capture the most data possible in order to like develop the OS or other products in order to sell it to the customer. I again, evil CEO vibes, but definitely like the right thing to do if that's what you want to do, maximize profit and farm your customer base. You already have so much data on them anyway, why the fuck not?
Then Microsoft's share price has increased by 1,000%. It's an absolutely staggering, insane number. And if you believe the hype, then it's all thanks to one man, Nadella. But to be more realistic, it wasn't all him. Microsoft had been riding a wave ever since he came to power, and they've done it by falling back on their old tricks, becoming the ultimate middleman in the tech world.
We create technology so that others can create more technology. That's who we are. We're a tool maker. And in a world right today where every walk of life and every industry is being shaped by digital technology, our original thesis is even more important, and I wanted to be in touch with it.
While the strategy didn't end up working that well for VR, it did lead to massive growth in cloud computing and later in AI as well. They could have—
I fucking hate cloud computing, dude. It actually moved away so far from like not just digital copies. You don't even get like digital copies anymore. It's just all like, oh, you have to harvest it from the cloud. Hello, everything is harvested from the cloud now. Please log in. Use the cloud. Cloud gaming. Cloud everything.
Stood by the sidelines. If Steve Ballmer were in charge, they probably would have been far less involved in the AI bubble.
The future.
Instead,
I know,
though, Nadella
sucks.
put all of his golden eggs in the AI cloud computing
nuts.
basket, which let Microsoft take advantage of the unprecedented, almost unbelievable growth of tech companies in the past decade. But it wasn't just this vision that got Microsoft to grow again. This new CEO was also ruthless, far more ruthless than either of his predecessors ever were.
What?
Before 2014, mass layoffs had just been almost unheard of at Microsoft. The company culture was one of stability. It was a rare oasis in the tech world. Software engineers knew that Microsoft was a safe haven. The pay may be a bit lower, but you could expect much more stability. The ability—
That's exactly what really famous and popular, like desirable companies try to do. They basically uproot you and make you go work at their like headquarters if you get lucky enough to get a job, and then when they treat you like shit or they don't give you what you should be deserving of, like I don't know, like, you know, like basic plans for like life and stuff, or like insurance, what the fuck ever, like anything under the sun that the normal employer should do. Now they're like, oh, well, you know, it's such a privilege working here, and Microsoft is one of those places. Like, this is the same with, like, game devs and stuff, but big companies always leverage the fact that it's, like, it's supposed to be a privilege to work for them.
To get a mortgage or settle down without worrying if you'd get cold in a year's time for shareholder optics. But in his first year, around 2014 and 2015, he fired around 18,000 people, which was 14% of the entire company at the time, which continued on with 8,000 in 2015, close to 5,000 the next year, and around 3,000 to 4,000 the year after that. But it wasn't because the company needed to save money, it was just to change the company culture. Instead of offering the carrot, Nadella was going to brandish the stick, and by regularly purging low performers, he put a fire under employees' feet and extracted every ounce of work that he could from them.
Evil
And to be
CEO,
fair, judging him on the
dude.
results, he's clearly a formidable CEO, equipped with an eerie ability to see into the future. But his overall strategy—
It isn't, though. The privileges the company gets to build something great for the customers. No, I'm not saying I'm not agreeing with it. It's just corpo leveraging and trying to make you feel good into like accepting worse pay or like worse outcomes. I'm not agreeing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a good thing. It's just that's the reality of it. Like back in the day, I use this example a lot. Blizzard, if you worked for Blizzard between 2000 to like 2010, it was a privilege. Like you would take that job, and even though it's not ideal, you live in California, which is already, oh god, okay, like I already have to do that. You probably have to, there's stories of these people who worked there in that time period. Even though they loved their job, they had to live with like 5 other people that also worked for Blizzard because they couldn't afford to live there because they didn't pay them enough.
Strategy for the company really wasn't that unique, and it's just a game plan that all other companies in the last decade have used to skyrocket their stock price while extracting as much value as possible from their employees, and then their customers, and finally from their business relationship. We're of course talking about a process known today as enshittification. The term was coined by the technology blogger and author Cory Doctorow. In his recent book on the subject, he explains how it unfolds in online platforms in 3 easy steps.
You can extrapolate this to any company, unfortunately, and it's really sad. I remember DoorDash used to be so fucking good. Like, I wouldn't DoorDash all the time. Like, I didn't have that kind of fucking money. Like, holy fuck. It was still really expensive, and it was a privilege. But there used to be discount sales all the time now, and now it's so overpriced, and there's no competition. There's, like, maybe one other, like, delivery food company near my area, and I sometimes use that. But, like, overall, it's just, they fucking suck. They really do, and they used to be a lot better.
Step 1, first, platforms are good to their users. Step 2, then they abuse their users to make things better for business customers. Step 3, next they abuse their business customers to claw back all the value for themselves.
Yes.
Ironically, this is the very same process that happened to YouTube over the past decades. In fact, YouTube might
Twitch did this too. Twitch subs didn't used to have, like, Twitch period didn't used to have ads. And then Twitch subs were like to get emotes and stuff. It still didn't have ads. Now, if you don't have a Twitch sub, you get blasted with ads. It's slowly and very gradual. It didn't instantly just like switch up. Like, it was very gradual. It's like the boiling pot in the water with the frog inside.
So sensitive now to these words that we might have to call this platform decay instead. In this book, Cory goes through a few case studies and examples. He covers Amazon and how they monopolized e-commerce.
Oh, that's another thing. Yes. Amazon Prime, if you had Amazon, like the subscription, you would get free delivery, right? Which you still do, thankfully, at least in some parts. But you used to get Prime, and then you would get free stuff from games, and you got a free Prime subscription, and it would count more towards the streamers, so supporting them was a lot, like, better. Now, Prime is actually, like, a lot less than it used to be for the streamer if you gave them Amazon Prime. Like, Amazon Prime subs specifically.
And he analyzes how they rip off the customers from the merchants today using that power. He then covers Facebook, Apple, Uber, Twitter, all doing the same things with their own monopolies. But those services are the backbones of those companies, and they still are today. However deep Amazon goes into Amazon Prime Video web services, the majority of their revenue will probably always come from e-commerce. Other companies like Reddit are even more top-heavy. They're almost completely focused on just their online platform. Microsoft is different though. Today, their revenue spread looks like this.
I didn't know LinkedIn was theirs. That makes so much sense. What the fuck? I did not know that. And that also explains the enshittification. LinkedIn used to be like, kind of like just basically professional Facebook, where you'd look for jobs. Now it's just a complete shithole.
Usually what you'll notice is that Windows...
Xbox be crying.
Now makes up less than 10% of their revenue. What's more, it's growing much more slowly than other parts of the company, meaning it'll probably be an even smaller percentage in just a few years' time. This all then means that other than maintaining their monopoly, Microsoft really doesn't care about Windows itself. They know how annoying it would be for you to switch right now, and they also care far less than they used to about Windows in general. This has let them take to platform decay far further than any other tech company has. For decades, they focused on step 1 and kept Windows working cleanly and smoothly. We all remember how simple and easy it used to be on Windows 7 or Windows XP. That was back when the monopoly actually seemingly mattered to them. But in recent years, especially since Nadella came to power, that all changed and they began step 2 of the platform decay process. In fact, it actually played into his overall long-term goal for Microsoft itself, as we'll find out later. The release of Windows 8 was the first time that Microsoft intentionally added features that made Windows worse for their own gain. It was all based on the start screen. When you turn on your computer with Windows 8 running...
And then, you want to know the best part? That when it first released, it was just that, and then eventually, I think it was maybe like a month or two later, they installed a feature where you could opt out of instantly getting this fucking stupid screen on. You could go back to the old ways. They were too stubborn to admit that this was a bad idea, and they went with it anyway, and then the desktop thing got removed, and they finally made it a little bit more accessible and like a little bit better.
When you turn on your computer with Windows 8 running, you'd see this menu first instead of your normal desktop. People just hated it. While sort of useful on tablets or phones, it was just terrible for desktops.
Yeah, this part right here, it was just like that.
Tablets or phones, it was just...
You didn't have this. You literally could not access it, period.
Terrible for desktops. It was yet another obstacle to click through to get to the desktop and actually use the useful parts of your own computer. But it was great for advertisements and for linking to other companies' websites. At the same time, they also released the Windows Store, and the UI of Windows 8 was designed to put it front and center. All the apps on the hated Windows 8 start screen were from the store, and it constantly pushed more of these apps onto people's faces. This is classic step 2 of the platform.
And that's also inorganic, what is it called? You know how everybody used Google Maps because it was better and more filled out? Windows didn't even have a good option for maps. It was just them trying to force you to use their dog shit ass map feature that nobody even used. It didn't even give you Google Maps, just straight up.
And it constantly pushed more of these apps into people's faces. This is classic step 2 of the platform decay process, making the user experience worse to serve third-party business interests. In a major update later on, they sidelined the start menu and gave people the option to skip it entirely.
And that took 3 months, I think. Maybe shorter than that, but I'm not sure. My time span might be a little bit off, but I knew it took a while because I fucking hated it.
On startup. Back then, Windows was still a large part of the business, so they couldn't afford the negative reputation of just completely ignoring their customers. But this didn't really last, as the new CEO's vision saw cloud services expand massively. Microsoft started buying chips by bulk, using them to create massive server banks. Regular people, but also mostly other companies, then rent that server space to run their own code and store their own data. But demand grew so quickly that cloud services soon became their biggest revenue source by far. They were among the first to start the massive data center investment arms race. Microsoft was trying to build yet another monopoly, although other juggernauts like Amazon were also in the running. Meanwhile, Windows became a smaller and smaller part of the company, so small that they could practically do whatever they wanted, with no real competition to worry about.
I think these are all the other OSs at the time that came out. Look, everyone's using Windows 7! Look, Windows XP had more of a share than Windows 8.1. Oh my god, is that not crazy? Windows 7 was goated. I want to say Windows XP has a soft spot in my heart because it's like you're a kid and you grow up with it, but Windows 7 is like what everyone kind of grew up with overall.
Microsoft was sure they could push people as hard as they liked, and Windows 11 is the culmination of this process. Years of platform decay have made it a shadow of its former self. The whole user experience is just terrible, and it begins before you've even installed it. First, there's the push for online-only installations and daily use.
And it's been so ingrained in your brain from other companies doing this that you think this is okay.
Recently, Microsoft made it harder for people to install Windows.
I fucking always skip this shit if I can help it. I hate it!
Windows 11 without attaching a Microsoft account. Now you need 2 separate commands to get past the Connect an Account page. Why did they do this? Well, so they can sell you more stuff on the installation page, like cloud storage for backups, or their Edge browser, or Microsoft 365, or just a Game Pass subscription.
Their fucking stupid subscription that they increased the price off from like $20 to $30.
Once you've found all the hidden no boxes to check and you've actually got Windows installed, you might find that your PC is...
That's another thing. Hold on, I gotta point this out. look at the psychology of where the decline button is and the continue button is. It's way more like it's instantly visible as opposed to the decline button. That's like a really basic psychology. I know I'm pointing out like fucking the apple's red kind of moment, but that's the fucked up shit I hate. Yeah, like it's outlined, it's shaded, and then the decline button is like
cloud storage for backups, or their Edge browser, or Microsoft 365, or just a Game Pass subscription.
No thanks.
Once you've found all the hidden no boxes to check and you've actually got Windows installed, you might find that your PC is running slower than you expected, as Windows 11 uses a lot more RAM than its predecessors. This is partially due to a new technique they've quietly been focusing on called preloading. Instead of leaving most of Windows in your computer's main storage banks, Windows keeps lots of it ready to go and stored in your RAM instead. This makes it slightly faster when you want to open the File Explorer, for example, but it does come at a massive cost.
RAM costs $500 a pop, bro.
Is precious. Compared to regular storage, you only have so much of it. Intensive
bro.
programs like web browsers and games use tons of RAM. The search function in File Explorer is another example. It's plainly obvious people don't want to find web results or random advertisements when they search in their computer. They just want to find a specific file or program.
Oh, it's so nostalgic, dude. Look at how neat and organized it is. It's in alphabetical order. Oh, I don't know. It's just so like people who made this, like you can feel how like good it felt to make that. Imagine being that guy that fucking coded this or something. I don't know. Like just it's so
Microsoft
good.
Changed it anyway, hoping to push more users onto their own web browser or to
Oh, does anybody else hate this shit? This stupid, I don't know what it's called, like this art style. It's like business corporate art style. I hate this.
Browser or to satisfy their business customers with a few more clicks.
Corpo art,
but
yeah.
one of the biggest signs
of
platform decay in Windows is
Don't say that. Chad, don't say don't call it. I'm gonna ignore that.
Now, when you install Windows, you get all sorts of other apps and shortcuts added in, like a tab for LinkedIn, another Microsoft subsidiary, or their new AI Copilot software.
Globally homogenous. I know, but it sounds like a slur, dude. It's a slur against corpos.
Now comes pre-installed. Pushing these other more profitable parts of the Microsoft conglomerates is the new purpose of Windows. They're cashing in their monopoly to try and sell people on their software for hire model of business. That's where the data centers come in. They're the infrastructure they need to eventually sell home computing as a subscription, while also selling vast amounts.
You will own nothing and be happy. We will revoke your subscription if we do not see you buying enough Microsoft applications. Please start spending more money or we will cut off your Microsoft subscription.
Of space and processing power to AI companies as well. Once they have that in place, they can finally move on to step 3 and squeeze other companies as well. The scale is absolutely staggering. This year alone, Microsoft is spending $80 billion on these data centers.
Shit.
They're obsessed because the demand is getting so high. All the AI bubble startups and random companies need more and more computing power. In just one fiscal quarter, or about 3 months, revenue from these data centers jumped by 33%. This is why Nvidia is so massive now, and why Microsoft is so massive now. They're all just ballooned.
It's actually disgusting to think about that they're bigger than Microsoft. And it's all fake too. Like this is not like real money. Like this is not. It's just not objectively real. 1 trillion is 1,000 billion, dude. They have 4.59 trillion market cap. It's fake.
Up because, to use a common analogy, Nvidia makes shovels for the gold rush and Microsoft buys them in bulk before renting them out to all the hopeful
Monopolies,
AI prospectors. This is what Nadella envisioned all those years ago. They are becoming the ultimate middleman now. With OpenAI reportedly aiming for a $750 billion valuation, that's a big 20%. To many investors, it seems like the sun will just never set on the Microsoft empire. But maybe all of this is just a bit too good to be true. Is Microsoft big or just massively completely overinflated. It isn't just that Nadella has taken all of Microsoft's eggs and put them in the AI basket.
Yeah.
The market thinks he actually has 10 times more eggs than he did a decade ago. Then all of these possibly imaginary eggs have been out in the basket as well. If they ever drop the basket, if the bubble pops, the whole company would fall apart from the massive crushing loss. It's an even bigger problem for the AI companies that Microsoft owns, like OpenAI. Sam Altman has desperately been trying to push OpenAI into profitability, something he still hasn't managed and hasn't got anywhere near close to doing. It seems like only a miracle can take their around $4 billion revenue and make it match their $500 to $750 billion valuation. This same logic also applies to all of the AI companies that are currently buying server space from Microsoft. If the bubble does pop soon, they nearly all go under and Microsoft is left without any customers. Then there's the problem that they don't have a monopoly. There's Google, X, Meta, Apple, even OpenAI.
I think fucking SteamOS could totally swoop in. They already have a really good basis with just like the store that they have. I think they could do it. If you play the Steam Deck, you know that the SteamOS is actually pretty decent. I think they could totally take over the market if Microsoft died tomorrow, people would just be like, yeah, why not? Like, how many users are there on Steam? How many users use Steam? 185 million active users. How many active monthly users of Microsoft Windows? 1.4 billion? Okay, well, never mind. I don't know. That's still like a lot, but man, wait, what? 1.4 billion? Okay, maybe Steam can, but I think if it died tomorrow, there's no answer. I don't know. I think they could do it. I think Gaben could definitely do it. Steam is not SteamOS. I'm aware, but that still translates to users that could potentially be part of the market. Yeah, I'm aware that Steam is not the Steam library. Like when you open it, it's not SteamOS, but like the principle is still the same. It's well designed. It just works.
If
like
they
Todd.
get out from under Nadella's iron grip.
Works.
There's already so many competitors for the AI crown, all of which have unique advantages over Microsoft. And even if AI does turn out to be the massive industrial revolution that the tech world seems to believe in, it doesn't guarantee Microsoft's future either if someone else wins the race. And finally, even if they do survive the bubble, they might have lost the one thing they could always rely on. Windows has become so awful, so decayed that people are actually beginning to switch. Take a look at this chart, first shared on Reddit by user StillTheH. It covers the last 5 years of the operating system market among Steam users.
Linux is now above 3%. They've gained 1% in like 8 years. It's a lot. Poggers in the chat for Linux. W Linux.
Based on their annual hardware surveys. While Linux remained stagnant for years, it has actually finally begun gaining market share, almost tripling from 1% to 3%.
Wow.
Then you have to consider that the Steam Box and SteamOS are on their way.
I can't wait
and
for
they
this.
will be the first real competitors
I really want to try this. I'm very excited to try this.
Microsoft has had in years, and Valve could really take a chunk out of
You
them.
pre-order
It's a
it yet?
massive potential market, and you've got all the people who don't want to pay a monthly subscription to use the computer they already own. All the people just sick of Microsoft in general.
Yeah,
and so while Microsoft is more massive than ever before, it's also in danger of collapsing entirely. If it did, it would teach all the other companies a huge lesson. You can decay your platform as much as you like, whether that's selling software or just selling chocolate bars. But if you ever get any real competition again though, and there's no AI bailout to save you, then you can lose everything.
Corpos never learn. No, they do not. They just want your money. Corpo borpos. Give me your money. Consume the slop. Global homogenization. Thank you, Moon. That was a great video.